this the mess that's on my desk based off of people trying to keep up chaos and confusion, point fingers, and they the one that created it all. So I'm just showing you the facts so that you'll know what to do with it later. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to post it. I'm going to send a video out. I'm going to snapshot it. I'm going to put it in a magazine for you. I'm going to give you every way to understand it so you can understand that your village is in jeopardy because of people's hatred for your mayor.
Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we got to talk about the Village of Dolton meeting that occurred last Monday. And the reason we got to talk about it is because it was absolutely magical in every possible way. Now, I'm going to link the full thing in the description of this video, but needless to say, the first board meeting after Tiffany A. Henyard has been revealed to be under FBI investigation, had a ton of fireworks, had a ton of chaos, and we absolutely love to see it. Now, like in the previous meetings, we're going to start with public comment. We're also going to start with this woman that we've seen a couple of times. She happens to be going through cancer. In the first iteration of the meeting that we saw her in, her mic wasn't even turned on for the bulk of her rant, so we came in like halfway through. The second time, she was screaming so much that it was actually popping the microphone, so you couldn't actually hear what she was saying, a huge portion of it. And this time, as if she's watched my videos where I've talked about what went down in the previous meetings, she has come prepared, and she opens up by saying that she's going to make sure she's not muted, and she's going to make sure she doesn't scream into the microphone so much that you can't hear it. So I'm very excited to bring this to you. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who signed up over on actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
Now let's get into the story.
Thank you, everybody. My mic is not muted. I'm going to keep it calm today so they won't mute me. So everybody, hopefully that's on live, can hear what I'm saying. All right. First off, this is ridiculous. I'm disabled, Tiffany. Why am I being pushed and why am I being standing outside for over an hour for a meeting that's supposed to start earlier? This is ridiculous. You should have let us in. There's no threats out here today. Now what's the excuse? Do you have an excuse? Your excuse should be that you're stepping down as a mayor because you're a poor excuse for a mayor. Excuse me.
So right off the bat, I have to say I 100% agree with this woman. One of the reasons why I don't schedule a live stream to react to this for you guys out there in the audience is because these meetings start incredibly late. So this first opening comment that she's giving, and again, check the live stream if you don't believe me, starts about 40 minutes in. She doesn't really start talking until 42 minutes in. They start the live stream when the meeting is supposed to start, but of course, Tiffany A. Henyard has no respect for the residents of the Village of Dolton, so she strolls in whenever she damn well pleases and starts the meeting almost an hour late each and every time. And now, of course, they have crazy security out front. People have to show up even an hour before that in order to get into the building, and her complaint right off the top makes absolute sense. That being said, she really goes after her with the next one where she starts calling out all the different criminals, and I just want to say I'm so much in agreement with her.
Before I got muted last time, I did have a couple things that I wanted to address to this board. Since you said we need to address your board, all of y'all need to step down and quit. Keith is a criminal. Stacy is a criminal. You a criminal. You going to jail. The FBI came and raided this place. You can keep lying on TikTok and everything else and saying you ain't get raided, but you did get raided. That's the truth. All those threats you had people sending me, I know people in these streets too. And they told me who the people are that you've been sending after me. And you trust and believe that those threats are not going unnoticed. I have children in my house. So yeah, y'all can mute the mics if you want to, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why you don't look this way like you wouldn't look when Alexis Wilson was talking to you. But I got 3 minutes, right? I got 3 minutes. You see my hair? For the wigs that you promised you was going to buy people in the township? Do you see this? Do you see this? You want to ignore me, right? Like you didn't live across the street from my house for years.
So yeah, obviously I'm in agreement with her that these people are likely to be criminals. They haven't been convicted as of right now, but I do like the attitude. I do like the energy. She takes off the wig because she actually has cancer. Tiffany Henyard supposedly set up a cancer charity in order to help people pay for their wigs and whatnot. But of course, it turns out she's expensing her own weaves, her own makeup and hair and all this other stuff to the taxpayers. So it's kind of a slap in the face to people like her who have to deal with this actual illness for Tiffany Henyard to have this fake charity that doesn't file the required financial documents. One of the reasons why she's being investigated by the state of Illinois. And I get the energy from this woman right here.
First of all, thank you all the residents that made it in. And considering what we went through the last meeting with all the people outside the way they are, there's no reason it should have been that way again this time. I am pleased that Trustee Holmes is not here, although I asked him to suspend himself with a little integrity. I don't think he's done that yet. But more importantly, I'm trying to figure out why Delgado won't unask that seat.
Now, right off the bat, we have this woman right here talking about Trustee Holmes. Now, we actually covered this story way back when it initially broke, where essentially Holmes is accused of a rape, although not really accused in terms of the language being used in the segments. And that is because this actually allegedly occurred in the city of Las Vegas. So it's not a criminal matter for the village of Dolton. And the reason why it has broader implications for the village of Dolton is supposedly Tiffany A. Henyard ended up firing the individual who filed this complaint against Holmes and fired a police officer that was helping, or actually I believe he was demoted in that particular case, and essentially was covering up this assault. Now, there were all kinds of quotes in the allegations, supposedly of Henyard saying that this is going to ruin her career, and all this other self-centered stuff that honestly, based on what we know about Henyard, is not all that surprising, but I just want to refresh you on that, on why she wants Holmes to step down in particular, because it's about to be broadened out to Henyard and a bunch of other people, and yeah, but the Holmes case is just a little different.
Trying to figure out why Delgado won't unask that seat. And I meant just what I said, Mr. Delgado, unask that seat. You got $1.2 million between us and the township. You can go home and play with your checkbook or whatever you play with. But sitting up there, you need to go. You don't protect us. You don't represent us. You represent the mayor. First of all, it is misconduct. And if there's anything I can do about it, it's going to be done. You represent the mayor against the people's trustees. What kind of bullshit is that? And you call yourself our lawyer. You call yourself our lawyer. It tells me what you think of us that you show up here. And the same thing with you, Keith. The nerve of you all to put your asses in front of us when you disrespect us the way you do. Thank you.
So needless to say, that woman brought the fire. And just so you guys know, I'm the one who actually bleeped out the BS thing because YouTube will treat my channel poorly if I don't do so. That aired live on the Village of Dolton channel, and she is just not having it with the lawyer that is representing Tiffany Henyard and defends her from all these different cases, because that lawyer is supposedly representing the village. Now look, there was a lot of fire being brought from the residents of the Village of Dolton, so I'm definitely going to recommend that you guys go into the link in the description in order to get it in its full context. That being said, we have to get into a little bit later the propaganda video that Tiffany Henyard showed, very North Korea style, but before we get into that, we have to talk about this back and forth that she had with one of the Board of Trustees members, because it's absolutely hilarious. And this kind of set the tone for the rest of the meeting, because there were many shouting matches between these two women. And honestly, I loved every single second of it. I would distill this into a beverage and sell it to you guys out there in the audience, but it would give you so much joy in your life that it would be illegal for me to do so.
You always say, let's take care of the business. Let's take care of the business and go move forward. Secondly, I see that, and I'm going to say this because while the people standing outside were outside, there were some people that tried to come upstairs and have a seat. And now they're sitting behind where employees are. I think it's unfair that people that's not residents, whether whoever it may be, they should not be sitting anywhere where it is employee. And the reason, excuse me.
Okay, you out of order. Out of order.
And the reason I say this is because I came here and I am an elected official of the Village of Dolton, and they wouldn't let me pass the door. Said that they were given the instructions that we could not come in the building. So I don't have the nerve or anybody to be sitting as if they were an employee of the village of Dolton when I'm an elected official elected by the people and can't come in the building. I'm offended.
So a few things that I want to point out about this. First and foremost, it is obvious and clear that Tiffany Henyard using security, using her police to block out residents in order to reduce the amount of backlash that she gets is obviously a power move, and it's disgusting. Secondly, we know who the Village of Trustees members are. There's only 6 of them, and Holmes, who happens to be one of the few allies of Tiffany Henyard, isn't there. So the idea that the police can't recognize 5 members of the Board of Trustees and let them in without this additional scrutiny is absurd in every possible way. On top of that, I just want to point out that Tiffany Henyard runs the Village of Dolton YouTube channel because it's under the executive purview. So while this woman is talking about all the different various problems she had, notice that the dislike sign pops up in bubble form on screen in order to encourage people to dislike what this woman is saying. This is the level of pettiness that we're operating under with the super mayor, but it's about to get even better because we're going to get to the point where they talk about this propaganda video because Tiffany Henyard decided that she needs to advocate for herself and prove that these allegations, as she calls them,
False allegations and not facts.
are completely false.
Now, let me get to the last thing where you sit here and send out this Dolton Proud pamphlet, and we got it at the last meeting that came. This is nothing but an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. It's campaign material, and it's full of lies. And then all the time while this was going on, the slap in the face that you would sit there and say, Lifetime Achievement Award to Andrew Holmes, and you knew what happened. This is a slap in the face. So the next time whoever gives you the bright idea to put this stuff out, I hope it came out your personal campaign fund, because this is nothing but campaign material. And I'm sure because it got township stuff in it, the township credit card paid for it. I'm done.
Now, I also love the fact that she brings up these propaganda paperworks that are being put forward by Tiffany A. Henyard, and included in this was something that was given out to her with, of course, the super mayor on it. And she also mentions that this is paid for by the village credit cards or by the Thornton Township credit cards, because that's what Tiffany Henyard does.
In the Village of Dolton. So first, I want to say that I am vetoing the message related to April 8th, 2024. It was the special board meeting / secret squirrel board meeting. So I am vetoing that entire, whatever y'all did that day. I don't really know. I don't keep up with y'all's meetings. So I just want to put that out there on the record.
Now, of course, in the prelude to this video, she announces that she's vetoing the resolution to have Lori Lightfoot investigate her. Now, I will point out that the veto in the Village of Dolton is completely pointless because it only takes a supermajority to override a veto. There's 6 members on the Board of Trustees, so that means 4 of the 6 have to vote to override. However, anything that passes via majority is going to pass with at least 4 members, so everything that passes in the Village of Dolton is essentially veto-proof. But I promised you a propaganda video, so we're gonna roll into the propaganda video. Although I will give the caveat that there is some copyrighted music in here, so I'm gonna have to talk over parts of it, but you'll get the gist from the non-copyrighted music parts.
What I love about people that's trying to work together, I like the fact that you guys reach out to me. Y'all send me prayers. Y'all uplift me when times are hard. So I thank you guys that are keeping me in your blessings. Next, we're going to go to the video. So one of my videos that we did was the Easter recap. This is just to show you things that you missed on the last meeting. We had several things to show you because at the end of the day, guys, with all the mess, I just want to show you what we do as a community, how we keep unity amongst our village, and what we do as it relates to outreach. So if you look to the screen to my right, your left, you can see our Easter recap.
Mayor Tiffany, superwoman right there. She does Tiffany, superwoman right there. She does everything that the community loves.
Making sure her community is happy and the children are happy. And I'm very grateful.
So first of all, she starts off by saying thank you to everybody who's sending her prayers and all the real ones out there that support her. And then she rolls into this, and they initially start highlighting the Easter egg hunt. But I also want to point out that they lead off with a woman calling Tiffany Henyard a literal superwoman. Again, her self-title is the super mayor, and this is just North Korea level, so over the top, so absurd and ridiculous, especially when you consider that this Easter egg hunt had a lot of controversy around it because Tiffany Henyard apparently kicked out the child of one of her political opponents from this Easter egg hunt. So this very video right here, the event that they're highlighting about how good the super mayor is built on a lie. On top of that, look at the people in costumes. Look at the decorations. Realize that this costs a lot of money. This is taxpayer money that she is trying to get passed off to the board of trustees in order to cover. And this is one of the reasons why they're in so much debt, because she puts forward all these different events so that she could film them for propaganda purposes and then expects the taxpayer to pay for her campaigning for herself.
Happy Easter, everyone!
So I also want to point out to everybody out there in the audience that Tiffany A. Henyard is not a giant woman. The fact that she got that much lift is because the hoop is low, but again, very North Korea style, just like Kim Jong-il used to always hit a hole in one. You end up with a situation where you're under the illusion that the super mayor can dunk a basketball, because she got pretty up there. I know that was a layup, but still, it just seems rather odd. But more and more people, again, who are going to talk about the village of Dolton and the work that happens in the village of Dolton are going to be saying things that are clearly campaign things for Tiffany A. Henyard.
I love the mayor. She is awesome. I love the way she's helping. I love the mayor. She is awesome. I love the way she's helping everyone out here in the community.
Thank you, Mayor Kenya, for the curriculum. They really appreciate it. As you can see, all we do is love on each other. We give out free food, or your eggs, your milk, the things that cost you so much in the grocery store. We get great Easter eggs. This is right there on Greenwood, 14312 Greenwood. And when I became mayor, it was nothing but a wooded forest area. We cut down all the trees and we turned it into this right here. And then we also redid the rest of our courts. We have the first one is for the toppers, the middle one is for the advanced, and the last one is for the adults. And they have 3 different colors and they're adjustable rims. So that was really nice as well. So if you don't know about this location, please drive down Greenwood and you'll see what I'm speaking of, and you admire the beauties of the village of Dolton.
I mean, again, just think about how much money is going into this presentation that you're seeing right here. All of this stuff being documented, filmed, and all that, plus all of the staging that they put in. And while there are a lot of kids there, and I'm hopeful that at least they enjoyed this, remind yourself that the village of Dolton is $7 million in debt. They were not making the payments on their police vehicles. As we talked about with the documents that I was able to obtain, they were on the verge of getting their stoplights and their traffic lights repossessed due to lack of payment. They owe money on an ice rink that Tiffany Henyard spent $1 million building without board approval, that she only opens for events where she's involved in. They're not for the regular ordinary citizen of Dolton outside of her own propaganda purposes. And this is what she decided to play. And again, this video goes on for a very long time before some of the people on the board have had enough with this.
I think that's blue. All of the kids love all the different characters. We have bouncy houses, we have face painting, we have so many things going on. But that was the Easter event. So again, if you're interested in any events that we host here in our village or in our township, you can go to either one of our websites and you can basically partake in them.
So that section right there was 3 minutes long. 3 minutes of the super mayor just praising herself, talking about how awesome she is, talking about how she beautified the area, talking about how the kids love it, talking about how this area was nothing before she came in, and then she solved all the problems. And you think in a normal situation, this obvious campaign video would be the first one and the last one, but the super mayor goes above and beyond because she's the super mayor. So she immediately transitions into another video, another propaganda film that she's playing.
Next, we have a feel-good piece. Okay, here's what the media don't show you. So we want to highlight the great things throughout our community. So this is when the flood was here from our FEMA to our community. I pushed cars out of water. I made sure everybody was safe. We went door knocking, and we gave everybody water on 100-degree weather. We tore down eyesores. As you can see, we would clean up everything. We repaved alleys, streets, sidewalks, things that I know you guys been crying about for years that never ever got fixed.
So this is unfortunately where the copyrighted music ends up coming into play, so I gotta cut it short right here, run some of the video over you. But Tiffany Henyard is narrating, talking about how you all been crying about your streets not being paved and your eyesores, and we took care of it because you guys are crying. Again, she talks like an absolute moron. And yeah, she's just running through more stuff that she's filming for the purpose of playing it in the Village of Dolton board meetings, for the purpose of saying, wow, you guys think I'm corrupt because all this money is missing from the Village of Dolton. There's all these allegations, but look, here's a video of some construction happening, and I'm doing that because I'm the super mayor. I'm Tiffany A. Henyard, the greatest woman ever, and look at how many people give me a hug and say, thank you, super mayor. You are literally a god amongst humans.
So he was just happy that his grandbaby can play on the sidewalk because there was no sidewalk.
So she talks about how this man is so happy because his grandbaby could just, play on the sidewalk because there was no sidewalk until the super mayor came and nobody could have built a sidewalk. And then she goes into the special projects that she's putting forward.
It's all messed up. These are our upcoming projects: our food truck with a pavilion, our doggy park, our water park.
Now, can we just point out for everybody in the audience that she is 50% of the signage right here? She takes up full signage alongside the coming soon project to the right side, and it's her like this, like she's giving you everything. But the things that she's building while the Village of Dolton is $7 million in debt, absurd in every possible way. We're talking about a water park. Your taxpayers need to fund a water park. Remember, the ice rink is only open when she does events for the Village of Dolton. Imagine having a water park that is only open under those circumstances. On top of that, we have a doggy park coming in and all these other different ridiculous things like the food truck pavilion. Again, you could just let food trucks open. You don't have to build a whole thing for that. But the super mayor's like, we got this. We're going to do this because I'm the super mayor. Notice again how much attention she's taking in terms of this sign, a whole 50% of it, because this woman thinks that she is the god of the Village of Dolton and the Thornton Township.
This is our main water replacement pipe, something that never been done in the history of Dolton, and as you can see, it's getting done under my watch. So all the things that you should know about, should care about, those are the things that I entertain, not the mess and all the media that comes to our community. So this right here is been a long time waiting.
Now, I just want to point out that the super mayor has now run propaganda videos for 6 whole minutes, interspersed with her own commentary at this point in time during the meeting. Again, insanity.
All the way to Sydney.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you to Mayor Henyard. And thanks a lot for what you're doing because it actually helps a lot of people.
So as you can see, there's a ton of people that love what it is that I do for our community. And I just want to showcase that, and that's why y'all see me constantly going, because that's what it's all about right here. The stuff you don't see nobody else doing. Everybody create chaos, which this boy has done, but they don't do the work. I do the work. My work speaks for itself. Right now, I can't do nothing but show you that. Judge me on my work.
She then ends up saying, oh, well, the board raised your taxes. I didn't raise your taxes. You guys are absolutely crazy. She plays a video that supposedly proves that, but apparently it's not true, just like almost anything that the super mayor puts forward. And now we got to get into the absolute fun part, as if this wasn't hilarious enough.
Plenty of times you guys have came to a meeting and had misinformation, misleading information. You guys have sat up here and said people said that you didn't pay them. It never was one of our vendors. So I don't entertain the stuff that y'all come up here and just say just because you want to say it for the media, for the residents, and there's no truth to it, no facts to it. And again, if you guys want to have an adult conversation with me, you know my number, you know what I live, you know all of that, Belcher. You guys can call me, but you don't. Hold on, but you don't call. You guys want to come here and put on a show for what? We still live here no matter what's going on in our neighborhood. For instance, it's a couple things y'all took off the warrant list that y'all need to put back on the warrant list. And y'all talk about y'all want to help the residents. If you're going to help the residents, then help them. Why aren't y'all paying for concrete? So when they got a water main break, how do they pour concrete down? How do they fix it? Because they got to call a company out. They got to call a company out to fix it.
Now, what's great about this is that after the propaganda videos, she ends up accusing the board of trustees of not paying the sanitation department, the trash pickup, and talking about how they're no longer going to have their trash picked up. And obviously, this was something that Henyard had set up on her behalf. She had video cues and all that set up. But this ends up spiraling out of control almost immediately. And we get one of the most hilarious exchanges of all time between one of the members of the board of trustees who is not having it anymore and the super mayor.
But these are the problems that fall on my desk when y'all don't do what y'all supposed to do. And then the residents call me to fix it when y'all said no at a board meeting. Because at the end of the day, it still got to get fixed. And that's what y'all failing to realize. No matter what they say up here, y'all gonna call me the mayor. And you'll say, Mayor, I have a water main break. Can you fix it? You don't want to hear that. When it was Thanksgiving, and y'all water was out because it was a water main break. Y'all didn't call them. You called Mary Ann, you to come and fix because you was cooking your dinner. So all I'm saying to you is when they say no, I say yes. Because at the end of the day, it's a service. People move to communities for services. And when they don't get the services, why do you want to live in that community? People go and we brag about other people's community because of what they have, what they offer to the people. You won't want to raise a kid in this town if you cannot have things that the kid needs, such as running water, such as fixing a water main break, such as a playground set where you can actually go play with no graffiti on it.
So Henyard, of course, is throwing all the blame and all the shade on the members of the board of trustees, saying, look, I was there when people lost their water during Thanksgiving, and none of y'all were going to fix it because y'all were eating day dinner or whatever the hell she said right there. And this starts the setup for the back and forth that I'm talking about, but it's always great when the super mayor goes on these megalomaniacal rants and she talks about what her view of government is, which is people moving in for government services. And the fact of the matter is, when the board says no, she says yes, because she's all about providing those services. Now, I just want to point out that the legislature appropriates money to Tiffany A. Henyard, so them saying no and her saying yes would be illegal, would be an example of corruption, and it seems like that is the whole problem that she's in right now, where she's not spending the money that the board is actually voting for on what they're saying that they should spend the money on, and she's doing a bunch of other things. And maybe, just maybe, if you weren't thinking about building a water park, you could do things like fix water main breaks. Maybe, just maybe, you could pour more concrete if you weren't trying to build a doggy park.
Who's cooking your dinner? So all I'm saying to you is when they say no, I say yes. Because at the end of the day, it's a service. People move to communities for services. And when they don't get the services, why do you want to live in that community? People go and we brag about other people's community because of what they have, what they offer to the people. You won't want to raise a kid in this town if you cannot have things that the kid needs, such as running water, such as fixing a water main break, such as a playground set where you can actually go play with no graffiti on it and not a broken slide. We don't have this in our community. Y'all have a tennis court that been broke down forever. They can't even go be Serena now. They can't even go play. They can't do nothing.
So first of all, I just want to say, this is my favorite moment in the entire megalomaniacal rant that the super mayor gave, where she says, we don't even have a tennis court where they could play because it's broken down. They can't even go be no Serena, because you guys know as well as I do, the thing that's separating members of the village of Dolton from being Serena Williams, one of the best, if not the best female tennis players of all time, is the fact that they're not fixing the tennis court in the village of Dolton. They can't even be no Serena. I love that line. So good. Somebody print it up, draw her face on it, put it on a t-shirt, and I will sell it in my merch store until I get a cease and desist, and maybe shortly after that.
Because we don't care. We fight over the wrong stuff. We fight over crumbs. It's a bigger picture. And y'all got to see that. Y'all got to understand y'all work and know what it is and know what we want to do instead of just fighting and trying to tear each other down. Oh, let me say this. Let me call them people. Let me do this. Okay, it could go both ways, but we're not doing that. All I'm saying is let's fix it. We got concrete on there y'all just took off. We got the pool on there. The kids been asking to swim since last year. I've been asking y'all to fix that pool since last year. Every time we put it up, y'all pull it off the warrant list. For what? The kids can't swim? How we got a swimming pool in our backyard when y'all know the black and brown kids, that's the number one thing. They cannot swim. So why would we not have that in our backyard? Why we got to go elsewhere and spend money to give our kids swimming lessons? These are the problems.
You're out of order, ma'am.
So why
you're out of order.
We shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, the number one problem in the village of Dolton, the number one problem with black and brown kids across America is the fact that we got a pool in our backyard, but they got to pay it and go outside for swimming lessons because they can't swim. So first and foremost, horrible stereotype. Shame on y'all for putting that forward. But secondly, she's so animated about the public pool, you could tell that she's completely missing the bigger picture, which is, again, you're not covering the basics for the village to even function, so why are we even discussing free swimming lessons and all this other nonsense that doesn't have anything to do with anything? Now, if you have an excess in terms of money and the community wants to get together and open up a community pool or fix a community pool, that's one thing, but you have water going out during Thanksgiving, you have traffic lights being repossessed, the cars of the police department, along with multiple other village vehicles, being threatened to repossess because you're not paying those expenses, and you're complaining about the village that is responsible for the finances, responsible for appropriating money, not appropriating money in order to fix the swimming pool.
The whole point of all of this is to build the community up, not tear each other down. That is the point of this. And it's sad because you guys ran on my ticket, both of y'all, Trustee Belcher and Trustee House. Both y'all did. And when you ran on my ticket, y'all ran on my vision. My vision is to fix our community.
The vision wasn't to rob the city. The vision wasn't for the FBI. The vision wasn't for you to steal all the money.
So the best part about this is that Tiffany ended up taking it too far. She ended up saying, you guys ran on my vision. She mentions Trustee House, and then she mentions Kiana Belcher. And she's been waiting this whole time to just go after her, and now the fireworks start.
So don't start talking about the vision. You know that is defamation. Don't start talking about the vision. Don't talk about the vision. Tell me what.
So unfortunately, right off the top, the microphones ended up getting muted when they started to shout them out. But I do want to point out that I can clearly and obviously read Tiffany A. Henyard's lips right here. And right here, she's saying, nah. Let's go to the video and let me do the dub so you guys can understand that. Nah. And that's absolutely fun stuff. I hate the fact that she controls the YouTube channel and they be mute and stuff like this. But if you notice, Belcher ended up saying, we didn't vote for you to steal all the money. We ain't about that. That's not what we support. And again, this just ascends, totally falls apart. It's amazing.
Okay, but let them do it. What you tell them? You say that and say stuff and don't answer nobody. Answer too. And that's the people of the village of Dolton. Now, you don't want to answer the people. You don't want to talk about nothing else, though, right? You don't want to answer the people.
Ladies and gentlemen, quiet down. Ladies and gentlemen, quiet down.
You say you for the resident.
So first and foremost, the level of dysfunction here is off the charts. It's crazy in every possible way that this is the regular, ordinary Village of Dolton meeting, but the thing is, based on the history, this is completely unsurprising. On top of that, it should be a crime worthy of the death penalty to mute this back and forth while it's occurring, because it is just so wonderful. It's so amazing to see this on display for us. I mean, look, it's horrible for the residents of the Village of Dolton. It's horrible for our country that this is how a governing body acts, but for a pure entertainment value, off the charts. And by the way, this is Tiffany Henyard being backed into a corner, feeling the pressure, panicking, lashing out, going crazy and all that. So in a way, this is actually good for the Village of Dolton because she should be on her way out, and deservedly so.
Order.
Ladies and gentlemen, quiet down.
Yeah. But at the same time, you say it's discussion. I asked you, did we get $6.8 million? You won't answer that. I'm telling you, these
You can't tell me nothing.
Now look, it is incredibly hard to hear. We are in desperate need of subtitles right here in this moment, but she mentioned the propaganda video, which is one of the reasons why I harped on that for so long, and how ridiculous that she showed that during the board meeting actually is. And she ends up screaming. She says, oh, we're having a discussion, but I asked you if you actually had this money in terms of a grant, and she refused to answer. That is true. That did happen earlier in this. But again, the back and forth on its own, it's just wonderful.
These people are emailing us about somebody else's property talking about they want $7,000. These people, so when you sit here talking about what have I done, I don't have to sit here and videotape everything I do. But I know what I ain't done. I ain't commingled no money. I ain't stole no money. And I ain't going to jail.
Ladies and gentlemen, quiet down.
Whoa! I gotta say, this is great stuff right here. So she's making fun of Tiffany A. Henyard because she has to videotape everything that she did. She's like, I don't gotta do that, but here's what I know that I haven't done. I haven't stolen no money, and I ain't going to jail, unlike you. Coming after her, coming hot, throwing the fire. You absolutely love to see it. You love to hear it. Maybe not in terms of audio quality because it's hurting my ears, but again, amazing in every possible way.
I ain't stole no money, and I ain't going to jail.
Ladies and gentlemen, quiet down.
That's what I ain't done. You going to jail. Don't worry about it. Nah, because I have to assume $0.8 million. That's what I told you yesterday. Because you ain't talking on the phone. The email said Tiffany Henyard responded and was going to let me know this morning. So where's the response? All right, we gonna wrap it up. Bring it back ugly.
I mean, come on. Is this not the greatest thing you've ever seen? Is this not better than pay-per-view? They need to monetize the Village of Dolton's channel so that they can super chat, so that they can read those super chats, and honestly, that would wipe out the deficit completely. She says, you're going to jail, and if you notice, Tiffany Henyard repeats back to her, no, you're going to jail because this is the level that we're operating. The mayor is yelling at one of the members of the board of trustees back, I'm rubber, you're glue, anything you say on me goes back and sticks to y'all.
The email said Tiffany Henyard responded and was going to let me know this morning. So where's the response? All right, we gonna wrap it up. Bring it back ugly. All right, you don't want the truth. You don't want the truth. You don't want the truth. No, we ain't getting $6.8 million, and we ain't gonna get it. And she spent it before it came. Clerk, can you call the roll so we can move on? Clerk, call the roll.
You're voting on. I'll mention it.
Call the roll, clerk.
Let me do it, please.
So first of all, I absolutely love this because the super mayor is the one who always tries to get the last word in. She always tries to argue back. But guess what? This woman just overwhelmed her with the force and power of her voice. She asked her about the $6.8 million repeatedly. Tiffany Henyard supposedly emailed back her office saying that they would answer her in the morning. Guess what? That answer never came. But if you listen very carefully, apparently based on the idea that she thought she was getting the grant, she ended up spending the money, and now they don't have the money, and that is a huge problem. Again, Tiffany A. Henyard doing this stuff all the time, but she's screaming that out. It's crazy. It's an insane back and forth, and you could tell that the mayor is on even shakier ground because look at the chaos of these meetings. Listen to the crowd whose side that they are on. It's basically over for the mayor. Now, you can tell Tiffany Henyard is mad because she's like, clerk, call the roll. We're ending this. And then the clerk's like, okay, let me just set up. And Tiffany's like, call the roll, clerk. Again, dictator being unpowered right now in this moment. The super mayor is at an end, and she just got smacked down live on this YouTube channel by one of the board of trustees, and there's really nothing that she could say because, again, she's got an ongoing FBI investigation to worry about. So yeah, this meeting was absolutely chaotic. It was wonderful in terms of entertainment value. Again, bad for the country, bad for the residents of the Village of Dolton, but good for me, so I enjoyed it. But I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. Is the propaganda video true? Is Tiffany Henyard the greatest mayor of all time? Or do you just love the chaos and you love the fact that this story is almost at an end? Or do you want it extended out like I do because, you know, I become dependent on this because you guys love the super mayor stories? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. As usual, if you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the absolute madness in the Village of Dolton. Till next time.